Hi everyone, this is Sylvia Ward and I will be presenting this webinar about how to effectively predict and increase your OTT service trial to paid user conversion rates. I hope that you're well and are staying safe. We know there's a lot of interesting content out there during these weeks, so we really appreciate you taking the time to join our webinar. We will try not to extend us very much. We will try to make our presentation in about 30 minutes, and the last 15 minutes will be to answer your questions. So please feel free to send them through the chat during the webinar. We will count today on the presence of Jerónimo Macanaz, Jam's Chief Executive Officer. He will be the one briefly introducing our company, followed by an overview of the competitive landscape in the short, mid, and long term. And after that, he will be talking about the interesting trial conversion business case, followed by an explanation of how to build a trial conversion prediction model that really works. So, Jerónimo, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Sylvia, and hello, everybody. Thanks, everybody, for joining and for taking the time to really share with us these minutes. As Sylvia said, there is a lot of content out there. So I'll try to make it short and to really go straight to the point and do something really practical based on our experiences out there building up trial conversion models. So let's just start with a first introduction who I am. So I'm a CEO and co-founder of Jan Data Driven Video. I've been in the space for many years now, so almost 20 years in the video streaming, video delivery, pay TV, OTT space. So I'm a father of 3 kids, and I'm a huge fan of Radiohead as well. So this is probably 3 of main characteristics of myself. So let me introduce you briefly, but I think it's more relevant here. What is Jam about? And I will take just very quick introduction about us. So Jam is a data management platform for video service providers. And the main goal of this platform is to really make the most out of the vast amount of data that video services generates on a daily basis. And with an ultimate goal that at the end is the optimization of core processes of any video service, right? That is at the end, the optimization of the acquisition process, the retention process, personalization, engagement, and marketing effectiveness. And in today's world, to really make this in an effective way, without any doubt, you need to use data in a meaningful way to really make an impact on these core activities. So this is what is really Jump about. We work with customers out there all around the world. It's a mix of pay TV operators, broadcasters, pure streaming video services, but all of them making video delivery and video entertainment experiences out there. So we have a happy customers really using these technologies, and especially this model that we are about to know. It's one of them. So our focus is all the time business impact. So even we are an AI, machine learning, data company, all these words that are really trendy. Our ultimate goal is really make an impact and help our customers to reduce churn in these averages between 15, 30%, and increase content consumption also between 25, 75%, and also improve the marketing effectiveness in between 10 and 50% using our technology. And of course, making a business case out of there. So you will see a specific business case for a real customer to get a sense really of what is the business impact that you can have if you use these techniques with Jump or without Jump, but really how you can achieve business impact. First of all, I always like to put some context about the industry before that. And I think nowadays it's really important to have a competitive landscape mid, long term, and also take a look briefly what is this environment and what is the market situation right now with the challenging times that we are living, and of course also arrive with a lot of opportunities. So in terms of the market size that we are talking about, that is the OTT market, we all know it's booming, right? This is not new. And there is an opportunity, and the opportunity potential is really massive, right? So if you take a look at the forecasts from companies like research and markets, consultancy firms, or digital TV research, all of them are really forecasting a huge growth, going through 22 billion market valuation in 2019, until almost 157 billion by 2024. So really, it's a really nice growth. And also in terms of subscribers, if you take a look at the world, in a world population of 7 to 8 billion people living in our world, just for now 200 million are paying subscribers from a OTT streaming service, right? So the path for growth and the future, if you look even long term, is really massive, and it's going to really transform how we really consume content in many ways, right? So in terms of growth, during the last years, we are having around 15% growth. The major factors driving this growth are changing year by year, right? Because things are happening so fast. But we all know that internet proliferation, not just in mature markets, but also in developing countries, is really a key driver for growth. The mass adoption of connected, especially mobile devices, is really driving new opportunities for massive growth and scale. And this is something really that we should look very specifically. What is the role of mobile devices in this new economy, and also the increased penetration of other mass devices in our living room, right? So like smart TVs, or like connected OTT boxes, and Alexas, and a lot of devices and gadgets that really are connected in some way to entertainment experiences. And also more and more, we are moving to a space when we used to have like our TV set with our set-top boxes, and then we have like a very limited experience and user experience or entertainment experience, to a world with really the flexibility and the ease of use offering is really a differentiator as well in this new environment. So this is something also to look very carefully when you look at your strategies for retention, for example, or for acquisition, right? So in fact, overall, the subscription SVOD market is really a promising one. And I think the mid and long term, this is just a snapshot, but we all know that there's a huge opportunity in there. What is happening now, short term, these last months, right? So we all know that we have a global pandemic, and that have changed significantly some of the trends that we all were forecasting, right? So, for example, the forecast for SVOD in 2020 have changed with an additional 5% growth. That is something really interesting. But what we are seeing also is that what really is increasing at a exponential growth is the number of trials. When we look at our customers' growth during these months, it's really spectacular how the trials signups are really growing. But what we are starting to see slowly, but I think that will also accelerate in the coming months, depending on the recovery from the pandemic in the different territories, is that not necessarily all of these trials will convert to a paid subscriptions, right? So we all know that there is a global economic crisis coming. That's something that, of course, is going to drive to a reduction in the number of streaming services per individual. So in average, for example, in the United States is more than 2. But people will need to have to make hard choices, right? So they will need to decide if they want to keep having subscriptions to 2, 3 OTT services, or probably they will need to make the choice to just keep the one that really are providing to them more value and complement that with other entertainment experiences. And this is when AVOD momentum comes and also make the competition environment even more intense, right? Because people is starting to combine their subscription services with AVOD, with pay TV, and the way people is gonna bundle is gonna have a lot regarding cost effectiveness versus value, right? So this is something important. So, but definitely there is an opportunity now to capitalize the momentum of the trial subscriptions growth. And this is really what is this rest of the webinar about, right? So it's how you can really focus on convert as many trials as you can, so you really get the momentum and capitalize that specific moment in history, but also how you can make this something that is part of your acquisition strategy moving forward, and you can also use this as a really growth accelerator in the future. So this is really what we are going to talk now. Just take a look, and this is a real example of one of our customers, one of our big customers, because this customer is getting like 88,000 trials per week, so it's a lot in average in a quarter. And they have previously to start working with modeling a conversion rate around 40, meaning that finally they get around 35 paying subscribers. So we were with them in building up a model that really just increased 10% the conversion rate. So something really reasonable. And that means an additional 4K paying subscribers per week. So if you do the maths, and with a subscription that in this case is in the mid-range, is $5 per month, you really can make a huge impact on your revenue baseline. That it's more than 72K US dollars per month, or close by 1 million per year. So definitely, independently that you guys don't have that level of that scale of subscribers, what my first advice is that you need to make your case. You need to decide how and what is a reasonable increase in the conversion rates if you work with these kind of technologies, predicting technologies. What is the threshold or where you will feel comfortable to reach, and then it's very easy to make the ROI case and understand if it's worth for you to invest or not in a technology like this to make a business impact. So this is my first advice: is always please make the case, make the business case. So, but what is this about, right? What means to build a trial conversion model? This everybody is talking about AI, machine learning, all these things. What is this in practice? What I need to do? And what is behind the scenes? What is the activities? What is the reality on the daily basis of somebody that is running this kind of technologies for improving their business? So I have summarized which are the steps that are part of any predictive model to be used at this scale, and also in a way that really allows you to really activate data. So these two things are really important as well. I would like to highlight that AI and data science is great, and there is a lot of potential in a lot of people that can do this. Doing this at big scale, or doing what I call big data science, is another story. And really that is something that requires lots of knowledge and also lots of infrastructure and technology to really make this work properly, right? So I'll try to figure out some of the key elements here. So first of all, this is a quick summary, and then we will enter into each of these boxes. You need to collect large scale historical data, right? So one thing we have learned in the past is that if you don't have enough historical data, probably is not the right moment for you to enter into this predictive world. You just need to grow You just need to probably wait a bit and have minimum of 6 months historical data to really run these algorithms in a way that really can help your business to make a difference. Second thing is that you need to analyze your user or your trial users attributes, right? And you need to do this automatically, and you need to do this in a way that at the end, what is behind any algorithm or that are predicting classification things like conversion, yes or not, the user convert or not, or retention churn, the user is going to churn or not, is really to separate and identify which are the differences between the key attributes of a user, splitting this between historical data of people that convert in the past and people that did not convert. And this is actually, at the end of the day, what this technology and the algorithm does. Is really understand which are the differences between these two groups. Then you need to do the predictive part. So you have the data, your algorithms are able to learn and identify the differences between these two groups. Then you need to try many different techniques that are out there to make the predictions. And here there is tons of way of doing it. And my advice, we will see it now in the specific box, is that you need to try as much as you can, because data dynamics change, and also your users' behavior changes as well. So in a very rapid dynamic environment like we are living, you cannot use a fixed technique for really do any prediction. That's also a learn. And then very important, you need to identify not just that somebody is going to convert or not, and then focus on the ones that are more likely to be convert, so you can really improve that ratio. You need to identify why people is converting from a trial to a paid subscription. Identifying the reasons is the only way that you really can go deeper and define marketing actions that really have an impact. And then last but not least, you need to make sure that all the outputs of these models are going to be available in the right way for your marketing people to activate that data. Otherwise, if you don't prepare the results for really making an impact and influence user behavior, you will just have a theoretical exercise that, if you don't activate data, means nothing, right? So now I will enter into each of these boxes very quickly. So what means collecting data? This is, of course, a large topic. We are not going to enter into this, but if you are running big scale in your service, you definitely need a big data infrastructure, right? So you need a data management platform. You need technology that is capable to gather and ingest the huge diversity usually that video services have in data sources, and then store this data, normalize this data, do harmonization of the data, cleaning, and then storage all that data in a unique repository. So you have the data ready for later on do predictive model, traditional analytics, personalization recommendations, whatever you want to do with data. But this is the first step. So if you don't have a data management platform or you don't have big data capabilities, you need this, definitely, if you are a video service and you want to compete out there, right? Typically, just to give you some quick tips, the data that you basically need for this trial conversion model, but also for retention churn modeling, for basically getting right insights about your video service, and basically for everything related to data are these data sources. You need to ingest your content catalog, your metadata. You need to ingest everything related to the commerce events. So subscriptions, commercial packages, discounts, offers. You need, of course, the playback activity. You need also the UX events. What is the experience that you are providing to your final users? And then depending on the customer, we are ingesting data sources around customer service or other types, social media, and other types of data. That everything at the end lands in a data management platform that is the origin of everything that we are about to talk now. So this is the first step. Second, You need to make this analysis automatically, of course, between your non-converted trials in the past and the converted trials users in the past. This is the only way to really learn about how your users are behaving, right? People that convert and people that did not convert. And then what usually you do is you compare their attributes data distribution to identify if there is a huge difference or just a small in this data distribution. If there is enough difference, this is what we call, and is called in machine learning, signal. There is something in there. When there is a difference that really allows you to separate trials from non-trials, is that this is an attribute that really is influencing people to stay or leave, okay? But you can ingest, let's say, 100 attributes from your users, but at the end, for your predictive model, you are not gonna use these 100. You are gonna identify which are the signal attributes, and then you are gonna work and train your algorithm and make the prediction later on just with these attributes. But to be honest, usually are no more than 20, right, in average. And these attributes, I have included some examples here. Could be tenure, I mean, number of devices the user is using, or number of big screen devices, or number of mobile devices used, engagement, the content type affinity, gene-RAS affinity, demographics, gender, age, geographic location. So there is some reasonable attributes of the user that, of course, some of them you can guess that are influencing. But the important thing you will see later is not that that you guess, is that you really prove it with data that this is really influencing or not the models, right? So we have examples of customers that, just to mention one of the attributes that I have included here, that is number of devices that trials are using. When the trial user is using a lot of devices, usually means they have a lot of engagement, and then is more likely not. You cannot just, you don't need just to look at one specific attribute, but it's a good signal that probably this is somebody that is gonna convert. But in other video services we work with, this is not especially relevant, because that depends also of your multi-screen device portfolio, and also the market that you work with. When people are more willing to use a lot of different devices, and in other markets, they are just using one or two, right? So it changed. Why you need to do this? You cannot do this manually, right? You cannot look at 100 attributes of the user and then create the data distribution and compare the data distribution and identify which ones are different. You need an artificial intelligence framework. If you don't have this, then this is the second step. When you fix the data management platform and how to gather data, you need to figure out how are you gonna build these models at big scale. Again, big scale is the difference, because building up a model, I mean, in a data science desktop is easy, but if you wanna do this at big scale and automatically and automate every single step of the model building, is not easy. You need technology. So number 3, try as many algorithms and predicting techniques as you can. So again, you can definitely try one and say, well, this is predicting fairly well, but maybe the month after that, suddenly the performance metrics of the model are really poor. And this is because of the dynamics of the data and the user behavior. So you need to constantly run your predictions and your models and as many algorithms as you can. Again, for this, you need to use an artificial intelligence framework that can automate that. And very important, and this is something that some people really are missing, and it sometimes is the key for data activation. You need to trust the predictions, right? Otherwise, you are not gonna impact hundreds, thousands of millions of subscribers. So how can I trust my data and my predictions is through performance metrics. There is a lot of different techniques, but the most important thing is to really define a strategy in the performance metrics. So what are we looking for? Are we looking for to maximization of our video service profit? Well, there is some performance metrics for that you need to optimize. In this case is the cost matrix. Are you looking to identify in advance as many future converted users as possible? And you are not as worried in the cost of the actions that you are gonna do, or is marginal because the actions that you are gonna do are, I don't know, push notifications or email marketing that has a low marginal cost. Then is a second technique, and probably you'll need to go for recall. That is identifying as many future converted users, and you are not worried about if you are impacting people that really are not gonna convert anyway, but you are launching the campaign. And third, looking to minimize the impact of the actions that you do in people that is not gonna convert anyway. You don't want to disturb people that is not gonna convert, or you don't want to spend time or money in these people that is not gonna convert. So in these cases, there is another metrics that you should look at, that is F1 score. So depending on your strategy, you need to define the metrics that makes sense to you. And this, again, could change along the way, because you can change your strategy. But this is something, the only way, looking at performance metrics, that you can ensure that the actions that you are gonna do are supported by really a rationality of trust. And this is very important. And number 4 is really, once you have the predictions and you trust your data, you need to provide a score that is at the end, the metric that you are gonna use for saying that something have more probability of converting than others. And together with that, the outcomes should be also which are the influencing factors in the conversion model, right? So you need to understand this, because, for example, in this example that is also real, the number 1 influencing factor is tenure per trial, meaning that the people that convert the most are the ones that have been in the service without a trial subscription, so just as registered users in the past, right? So if you really identify that this is a conversion factor, then why don't you invest also time in your registered users, independently that they have a trial or not, making for them attractive to stay with you consuming content just as a registered users? Because at the moment that they define that they want to try a subscription and get a trial, probably these guys are going to have a much better probability to convert than others, right? This is just an example. I mean, each customer is different, and it could be completely different influencing factors. But it's important to understand this to really guide which are the actions that you are gonna do. And last in the steps, and this is also a failure point that we have seen many, many times. Before making decisions, you need to cluster your audience and regarding the scoring, right? So you need to create 10 clusters, 5 clusters, when you have people that range from a very low scoring to very high scoring, and then look at the different characteristics of attributes of each cluster, not each individual, each cluster, for identifying actions. And then go one by one, cluster by cluster, making impacts with marketing campaigns to really focus the actions accordingly to the characteristics of these clusters. So, for example, if you have a cluster that is cluster X with a high conversion scoring and high number of devices used and high number of content watch, it's something definitely that are going to help you to say, okay, if these people is driving by the number of devices they use, they consume a lot of content in a lot of devices, and they consume a lot of content, and they have a very high probability of converting, If we, for example, have a new device launching coming, or we have a new feature in a specific device, let's focus the campaign on conversion of these trials users on this driver, because it's what they really are worried about, to having a lot of choices in the way they consume content, and maybe having advanced features in the user experience on these devices. So let's focus the campaign on this. Let's not focus the campaign maybe, I don't know, in a specific bundle or price promotion, because maybe this is not what they really are worried about, and maybe, and even you can provide, I don't know, a coupon discount or a subscription discount for some time after they end their trial, but at the end, this is not driving the conversion, and you are gonna invest money on that, right? So you need to go cluster by cluster, deciding the actions that you wanna do. And very important, at the end, you need to assess the performance of that actions. If you have a data management platform, you are gonna be capable to impact users, but also once you have impact these users, you are going to be able to understand if that actions has been good or bad. Basically, later on, looking at these clusters and understanding what is the number of trials that finally convert or not based on your actions. So you can iterate and you can refine the actions you do and how you analyze the data that are coming out of the conversion model. So this is the last step probably in the process. So just to finish the presentation, there are some conclusions here, and then we will enter into the Q&A mode. Conclusions, of course, global OTT market is booming. There is a massive opportunity. The right conversion strategy is a growth acceleration. So you really need to take care of this. And first things first, you need to build your trial conversion business case. Look at data, look at your figures, look at your conversion rates, and establish a reasonable goal of increase. And then look if you can build this, or it's something that can help you out in the market, right? Artificial intelligence definitely can help. It's not magic, it's a process, it's a journey, but definitely pay off if you really pay the right attention and you invest on that. Definitely you can make an ROI out of it. Very important, you need to feed this information into your CRM or your customer support, and you need to focus on the ones that are more likely to convert. In this case, it's not the other way around. You don't need to convince people that are not gonna convert. They are just looking, they are just, they are curious about your service. This is not probably the people that you wanna make your efforts in conversion. You wanna make efforts in people that is really deciding, they are having doubts, or maybe they are not paying the right attention, but if you take care of them and you connect with them, you can make them pay for your service. This is, and of course, at the end, you need infrastructure and technology for that. So build or buy, but you need both a data management platform and an artificial intelligence framework if you want to do this efficiently at low cost or reasonable cost, instead of taking ages and investing a huge amount of money. And of course, at the end, as everything in data is crucial, thinking and taking care since the beginning about how you are gonna make the outputs available for your acquisition team to understand what is happening, and also activate data in very agile way and very easy way. So these are my conclusions. Thanks everybody for joining. And then if there is some questions out there, I will be happy to answer any of the questions. So Silvia, I don't know, you have been looking at this.
Yeah, thank you, Jerónimo. Yeah, let's now move to answer some of the questions we received. You're still not too late to ask something. If you have any doubt, please use the chat for that, and we will be reading all of them, or at least most of them. For sure, we will be answering the rest of them by email. Someone is saying over here, This makes a lot of sense for subscription models, but is it possible to apply the same model into a bot and authenticated VOD?
So that's actually a really good question, because that's true that traditionally all the conversion models have been focusing on subscriptions, but following pretty similar techniques, you can definitely understand if you have subscribers that are coming back to your service on frequent basis, and then it's worth to really make some effort for them to come back. That would be like a conversion, right? People that are watching content on an advertisement supported basis, but you want these people to come back on regular basis so you can monetize ads and you can make your revenue stream growth. That at the end is the ultimate goal. So for that, you can work with engagement models that are pretty similar to conversion, but it's really a slightly different approach. But yes, the same techniques in terms of gathering data, building up the models, looking at the data, identifying influencers, and understanding what you need to do for them to engage, in this case, applies the same. And for authenticated users, I mean, I guess that is referring to register users, both through registration or MVPD authentication, applies the same. In this case, the conversion will be how many of your visitors at the end log in, right, with your pay TV operator credentials in the case of authenticated users, or how many anonymous users at the end moves to the step of providing you data as part of the registration, and applies pretty similar.
Okay. There is another one over here. How much historical data is needed so all of these technologies can work?
That depends, but I would say that a general answer would be that a minimum of 6 months. It's what we recommend to our customers, historical data, right? So you can do it with less, but as much data as you can, the best. And I would say a reasonable minimum, it would be 6 months.
Great. Let me read the last one. What CRM system would you recommend for SVOD service to boost conversion rate?
Okay, so that depends, of course, of the use cases. What you really want to achieve with the conversion rates strategy, right? So if you, for example, are looking to modeling, there is, of course, technologies or platform like us, like Jump, that really is what we do. If what you are looking is activation of data, once you understand what you need to do, you just do it. There is out there plenty of engagement platforms more than CRMs that can help you with that. Marketing Cloud from Salesforce, Marcy's, I mean, there's plenty of Braze, there's plenty of platforms that really make the connection between the output that we provide and the specific actions and multi-channel marketing actions that you can drive. But happy to advise on this later on, more specifically, if I understand better what is the strategy, the conversion strategy for this service.